Oki niksukuak sintaniko imakoyi omachka nimochtoto amska pipikani. The literal translation is, Hello, my relations. My name is Enduring Running Wolf. It's my Blackfoot name. And I'm from the Piikani First Nation, which is part of the Blackfoot Confederacy. My English name is Spirit River Striped Wolf, and I'm currently the president for the Students Association of Mount Royal University. I just started my second term as president, and I'm really honored to be talking to you today about National Indigenous Peoples Day. I want to thank Cory Cardinal for inviting me to say a few words. He asked me to talk about what I think is important to talk about on this kind of day. I know that when the National Brotherhood of Canada suggested such a day like this back in its origins, the day was meant to encompass a sense of solidarity with Indigenous peoples in Canada. So I guess I think about what that might mean to me. What does solidarity with Indigenous people look like, especially in today's environment? I read an article recently from the Washington Post about how Trudeau's legacy might bring future generations to an idea that Canada is disunited. I guess because my generation, we're talking more about Indigenous rights and Indigenous self determination and governance. I think that's a rather pessimistic perspective to look at where we're going as a nation. I think now more than ever we are looking at the solidarity and celebrating that solidarity with Indigenous people more than ever. I don't think that is something that we should be uncomfortable with or feel as if we are losing our sense of nationhood over. In fact, I think what we are doing is actually creating a new identity, a way to be more proud to be Canadian. A Canada where we can embrace what has happened and how we might find a way towards reconciliation. It's going to be a messy process, and we're definitely seeing that in our public discourse right now. I think the message that I want to share with people today is that we should not feel shame about the truth of Canada's history. Rather, we need to feel guilt about what has happened in our colonial past. We need to recognize what was factually done in the past, recognize the impact it has had on Indigenous people, such as intergenerational trauma, economic deprivation, displacement, and cultural genocide, so that we can move forward on how to ensure that things like that never happen again and find a level of common humanity that was once destroyed by the original colonists of Canada. And many of those things that I mentioned are still ongoing in our communities today. The reason why I wanted to bring this up, or why this is on my mind, is because I just see so much, anger and so much pain and so much re traumatization. I think today on June 21st, we should recognize the past without fear. We all have a part to play to dismantle systemic racism. But if you're too scared or ashamed to do your part, then you might not do anything at all. A professor once told me, we're filling out our student surveys to professors. He said, if you don't fill out these professor feedback surveys for my class, I promise you nothing will change. And I think it's the same thing here when we're talking about, solidarity with Indigenous people. We need to continue to show up. We need to continue to listen and find ways to continuously decolonize, indigenize, and to create a sense of freedom for those who are most marginalized in our communities. Because if we don't, just like my professor said, nothing will change. So thanks for listening to me talk, and please enjoy the rest of your day until we meet again.